Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for our CACCE webinar. We have a special one for you today. This one is going to be talking about developing and creating lead magnets. So looking forward to hearing from Izzy West, who is with the Little River, South Carolina Chamber. Many of you should know her. She has been with the Chamber for quite a while and is kind of our go-to lady when it comes to communications and webinars and things for CACCE. So when she reached out and wanted to share what she had learned about these lead magnets, we were like, absolutely, let's share this with our members and help them do what they need to do on their membership side and communication side as well. So with that, Miss Izzy, I will let you take it away.
Thanks. Like Tiffany said, I'm Izzy. I'm with the Little River Chamber of Commerce in South Carolina. Thanks to some great friends I've made at the CACC conferences. Whenever I start to get a lot of the same types of questions from fellow chamber pros, I actually started a blog because of it at theizzywest.com. And I don't know if I'm going to assume you guys know who Frank Kinney is. I've been doing a lot of his blitzers, and when I was getting a lot of the same question about lead magnets off of those, I was like, you know what, we should just help teach other chambers how to do this. So I reached out to Tiffany, so I appreciate you humoring me. I will say I'm going to go through some of this a little bit faster than many of you will like, but here's why. This will be recorded, so you will get the video. You will be able to pause the video to follow along at your own pace, but I want to make sure that I'm covering some of the vernacular and technical things that you want to be looking for. That way, whenever you do go to do it, it's starting to look familiar and you're not looking at a page just like, what is this? To start off with, lead magnets is basically you're giving something away for free in exchange for somebody's email address. So the type of free thing that you give away will very much affect the quality or the type of audience that you're getting. So I've got one lead magnet that I know it sounds silly, but they're pumpkin stencils that you print off to carve a pumpkin with. Well, those are geared towards just locals that know the area, that those whatever symbols I would have chosen make sense to them and nobody else. So that specific email audience is locals. The thing I'm going to show you today is our ribbon cutting checklist. Very doable. You've probably already got one. That's why we're looking at it. That is going to be geared towards an audience of new business owners or maybe even potential business owners. So I'm going to show you how we do all of this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, like I said, the way a lead magnet works is you're going to probably put out an ad or an image just showing, hey, we have this free thing, fill out my online form and we'll give it to you for free. How do I make this go away? Sorry, I'm not used to doing that part. And I'm actually going to take you through all of the technical how-tos to do this once I make that go away. Okay, cool. And then again, a little bit more about it to give you a big picture overview. So when I say traffic for number one because we want to automate some of this because nobody has time. We're all severely understaffed and underfunded. And that's why I want to do some automation. So again, starting from their side, they're going to see an image of your free ribbon cutting checklist or whatever it is, and they're going to click on it. They're going to go to your landing page, give you their email address, and then they're going to be put in what is called an email auto responder. You have this in Constant Contact, MailChimp, whatever email marketing provider that you have. I'm going to be demonstrating in Constant Contact, but it's called an email autoresponder. If you are a little more advanced, you can also set up a thank you page or tripwire, but those again are a little bit more advanced. I just want to kind of mention them though, so you kind of have in the back of your mind, okay, these are possibilities, or I want things to start to sound a little bit more familiar for you. That way, when you are ready, you go, yep, let's do that. And this white box is a breakaway showing that you can actually put multiple emails in your autoresponder series. We're only going to do one today. We're going to keep it very simple, but this is showing you how you could nurture that new lead and give them several emails. So for the ribbon cutting lead magnet, I might actually put in there multiple emails about becoming a chamber member and how that can actually support their new business. And then once they're in there, so that would actually be automatically nurturing that relationship with them because you've already scheduled out the email. But if you need to or you want to, you could also provide that email list to your sales team, like, hey, these are our warm leads, and they're going to love you for it. You just go into Constant Contact and download that email list. So to get started, we're actually going to go to Constant Contact first. Oh no, we're not. We're going to create our lead magnet. That is actually number one. So with this, I actually just have a Word document, nothing super fancy. It's our ribbon cutting checklist, something you probably have, so you can get this done this week. I usually recommend making lead magnets one page because you want them to be pretty short and actionable. You want them to get immediate value so that they already perceive you very positively. However, I have made mine 2 pages because I I'm being a little more specific with it. I've got experience with it, so I know that there's still additional questions people have asked me after the first page, so that's why it's 2 pages. And I've branded it a little bit. I just added in my logo. I've added in an image in the header. You just double click in Word, and this is an image I made in Photoshop and added it to the header. Similar to the footer, this is literally just a square. You would go to Insert, Shapes, and you would insert your shape, and I've made sure that it matches my brand coloring, and then I've just moved it to the bottom. It's a very simple, easy thing that makes it look a little more fancier without having to put in a whole lot of extra time into design. Because again, I want this to be as easy and doable for you as possible. Now, the important thing is we're going to save it once so we can edit it later, but we want to serve it to them as a PDF. So you're just going to go to File, Save As, Adobe PDF, and save it something that makes sense to them because they're going to be downloading this file. All right, we can see that that worked. And then here's a step most people won't know about, is we're just going to Google PDF compressor. And we're just going to pick a link. We're going to upload our file. Sorry, I have all of the files. Yep. And what it is doing is it's just making my file size smaller. So if you've ever had trouble uploading stuff to Constant Contact where it says file size too big, this is a great way to do it. All we did was we Googled PDF compressor, we went to a free website, we uploaded our PDF and we were downloading it, and it's saved me 81%. We got an ad, that's okay because they're giving it to us for free. Thank you. We're gonna close that. And so now when I open it, it looks exactly the same. Just because it's a smaller file size doesn't mean we lost anything good. So I do like to show that. Now we're going to go into Constant Contact. We want to go ahead and upload that. So we're going to go to Library. If you have MailChimp or something else, it might be called Media. But we're just going to go Constant Contact Library. We're going to go to Upload from my computer. I can just drag it here, but if you need to, you just click it, search on your computer for it. And it does a cool thing too, where it actually shows me a preview. So this part is actually an image. So this might be an image I insert into an email that I just want to show people a sneak preview of what they're going to get. But this PDF is the important part. I'll have to pick a file later. So I'm just going to upload them both for now. Now, before we leave, we probably want to go ahead and click on, again, make sure this is the PDF. See, type PDF, click on it, because we want this link. This is why we've uploaded it Constant Contact. This is going to be how we serve it to them. So either copy it, open it in a new tab. Oops, whatever you have to do. Oh, that's odd. Oh, that's why. This is why I like to make sure things work. Okay, so this is what it will look like when they click on it. I'm gonna leave this up in a new tab for myself. So then back in Constant Contact, I'm actually gonna start with the email list first. So I'm gonna go to Contacts. Oops, thanks. And then I'm gonna create a list, and I like to name it something very obvious that future me will understand, or even a potential staff member. So if I was hit by a bus today, somebody can log in tomorrow and kind of figure out where I left off. So I like to name it opt-in so I know this was a lead magnet, or if you want to be short, you can say LM for lead magnet. And then just ribbon cutting checklist for businesses. Cool, that part's done. Check a box. Then, let's see, we're going to go to campaigns. So again, constant contact campaigns, we're going to create our email autoresponder. So I've clicked on just create, and we want email automation. Again, we want things to be working in the background for us while we're busy talking to people or asleep or whatever it is. We love automation. So email automation, and we're gonna do automated series. Again, we're going to name it something obvious for ourselves or staff. So this is still just opt-in. Next, it wants us to select a trigger. Basically, what trigger is going to make this event or this autoresponder series happen? Well, we want somebody, as soon as they're added to that opt-in email list we just created, to be added to this email series. So underneath email trigger, we're going to say a contact joins a list. And then we're going to go find the email list we just made. I have very many. Here we go. And hit save. And this is kind of like the wireframe of our email autoresponder series that we're going to be making. So we see that this is the trigger. Okay, this is the timeline. I want to change this first one just already to immediately, because if they're getting that free lead magnet, we want them to get it immediately. So I'm just going to click edit. I'm going to say, hey, send immediately. And now we're going to create the email. So you can copy from something that already exists. Oh dear, I have so many. I'm just gonna do this one for now. And the reason I'm doing this is so that y'all don't have to watch me change all of my social media links. And then I can edit it. So I've copied an email just to get me started. This probably at least has your logos and your footer or something to that effect. If you want to start from scratch, that's totally fine. Though for what we'll be doing, it won't matter too much what kind of template you choose. So actually I do need to change my logo. All right, we're going to keep in mind that this is the very first email they're going to get from us. So we're going to say something very simple like, thanks for trusting us with your email. And then we want to make sure that they know they're getting the thing that they signed up for. And I'm being very slack because again, I don't want to waste y'all's time. So I'm going to go back and edit this later. And then what I like to do is I like to use a button, and in Constant Contact, you just click and drag, double click it, and hit link. And we want to go to, you could do a document, and this will actually show you all the documents you added to Constant Contact. So if you didn't copy your file link, it would be on here. But I've already got mine up, so I'm actually just going to do web page. And then we also want to make sure we change our text. And I want to make that bigger. So you want to give them the free thing first, and then afterwards you can be like, by the way, we're the chamber. This is why we're great. Here's some other free resources, whatever you want to send them. And then you can just double check your branding colors, make sure all your social media links are correct. Again, if you have different audiences, you can send the different social media. So I happen to have a Facebook and Twitter for visitors. So for those emails, I just changed my Facebook and Twitter links. And then of course, make sure you're editing your subject line, and you want to make it very obvious because you want them to download it. Okay, so I'm hoping most of y'all know how to do that stuff. Any questions so far? Okay. So we're going to pretend that this looks fabulous and we're going to hit continue. Because again, the important thing was they got that link. We wanted them to have that PDF link. That is the most important part of that email. And then if you were going to do multiple emails, we could say, hey, add to series. And then we could say, oh, wait 1 day, wait 4 days, wait a week. And this would be a way for you to slowly drip out. That's why it's called a drip campaign. Multiple emails about the chamber. And you would just, again, you could copy that last email so that the background and what you just want the emails to look similar to each other so it looks familiar to them. Or you can create a new email, and you can do as many of these as you want to. And again, the order is just, here's our trigger, the time for this email, the time for this email, and so on. Questions about autoresponder so far, about anything email-wise? Okay, I just like to check it, make sure. I know I go fast, so I'm actually going to hit edit, and we're going to delete this step. Something else you could try to do, let's say we're not going to do multiple emails, and I'm just going to actually edit this email. And instead, what I would like to do is when they download the PDF, then I will have them be added to another list. So this is a way I can kind of have a double opt-in to make sure that it's like a real address and make sure they're actually interested in something that we're doing, if it will load. So on this click here to download, I can enable click segmentation. So because this is kind of businessy, I'm actually going to go ahead and, oh geez, it's not in alphabetical order. I'm going to add them to my potential members list that I totally have somewhere. Here we go. So if they actually click that button, they will be added to my potential member list. So if you have multiple email opt-ins that are relevant for potential members, this is a way you could only make that potential email series once and have all of these other opt-ins lead and funnel into that other list so that you're not having to edit all of these emails and all of these different autoresponder series multiple times. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, this is totally beautiful. Nothing suspicious.
Hey, Izzy, it's Shannon. I have a quick question. And
Yeah.
I might be just thinking about the wrong thing for the
Oh,
moment.
you're good.
When you're giving away a free ribbon cutting, how are you tailoring that to non-members? If it's free, I'm just curious. Are you saying something very specific about that?
So I'm not giving away the event. I'm giving away the checklist.
Right. So
And
doing the checklist, if the chamber was hosting it for them, is that how you're doing it?
yes, so
Okay.
this kind of explains ribbon cutting with the chamber. And then somewhere in here, I kind of mentioned that you're supposed to be being a chamber member at no additional cost to you. We don't charge members. We don't really open it to non-members.
Okay. I'm curious. I just kind of got sidetracked on how you're marketing it to non-members.
So you're almost using it as a teaser, right?
Yeah, definitely. So if they call you and say, hey, I love this, how do I get a ribbon cutting? You say, oh, it's only going to cost you this much, and it's their membership fee for whatever, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect question, and that's also why I'm using it as a lead magnet because it's
Right.
not just my current or new members, it might be new businesses
Oh
that
yeah,
should
makes
be
complete
members.
sense. Definitely.
No,
Thank you.
that's a great question. So I'm gonna hit activate, and actually, before I do, I also another tip from somebody who's done this, before you hit activate, kind of know that these are the emails that you wanna have. Because if you are doing multiple emails and you're editing the content, your analytics for that email will stay the same, even if you change the message drastically. So if email number 2 was about the chamber, and then a week from now I changed it to why you should work at Subway or just something totally different, um, it won't start the statistics or the analytics over. And so that might be confusing later on because you don't actually know how well it's performing. Now you can go and change things. Let's say you have chamber champions or the chairman's circle or platinum sponsors that you put at the bottom of every email. You can go change that logo out whenever you need to. So you can edit these. I just recommend not making drastic changes. That's when I recommend creating a whole new, like starting from scratch. And then we're just going to hit activate. And it's just double checking we didn't do anything super wonky. All right, so this is live, but now we need to get people on the list, right? So we're going to go to sign up forms. And we want to create a sign up page. So again, sign up forms, blue button, create sign up form. And we want lead generation landing page. Lead generation, because this is a lead magnet, we want people to be getting on our email list, but we also want a landing page because this is not going to be a pop-up. It's going to be its own URL web page, so we can link to it anywhere. And there's also not going to be a menu and a sidebar with all these images and chamber events and other distracting things so that they can focus in on just giving us their email address. So that's actually very strategic. So lead generation landing page. My logo's fine. We want to change the headline because we're not saying stay in touch. We want something like get our and you can make it sound better. Again, I'm just trying not to waste too much time. So get our free ribbon cutting checklist. I'll just leave the description for now. And then we're going to change the button to, I don't know. And then, okay, so this is the landing page. And then right here, you can actually go ahead and toggle the thank you page. So click on that and we're going to edit the content. All right, so something cool with this new type of lead generation landing page that Constant Contact has is it now has a toggle for a display download redirect link. So if I click it, I can actually go ahead and say, hey, here's your free thing. So I can just go look for my new document, select it, hit insert, and they can download it right from this page without going to their email. So this is just basically good customer service because it's right there. I know I've actually had people email me a few times. They're like, hey, I signed up for your free thing, but I don't see it. And as soon as I was like, oh, you didn't get an email, they're like, oh, I didn't even check my inbox. So just not everybody's realized that. So I like to go ahead and do that. Click here to download. Okay, so that's the content, aka the text and the links and all for that, for both of those web pages. Then we're going to go to design. And I wanted to demonstrate this just enough because I know not everybody has their brand colors or you don't know what it is. I use Google Chrome. And if you just Google, if you use Google Chrome, Chrome extension eyedropper. And I've actually already got it on my computer. This is what it looks like. I can go to any website, like we'll go to CACCE. Oh, yours is always odd. Oh, that did it. Okay, cool. So obviously I don't own this website. It is not mine, but I can click the eyedropper in my extensions tab. I can go to pick color from web page, and you should see barely like this tiny little square right beside my mouse. And so when I choose a color that I'm looking at and click it, it looks like it's gone away, but what it's done is it's updated it over in this extension, and I now have the brand color for CACCE. So if you don't know how to find your brand colors, that's one way. And that's also good. I specifically wanted to recommend that to y'all because that's also helpful if you need it for your member businesses, if you're trying to match stuff for them. So at the very least, you don't have to go crazy. I want to update my buttons to what I know my blue is, which is this one. And so I'm just going to click on buttons and advanced. And you want the thing after the hashtag or the pound sign. And that's actually those numbers and letters is telling it what color it is. And I'm just going to change both of those. So this is the bare minimum of branding. Contact fields. I'm sure if you've heard from Kyle Sexton, because who hasn't, we want as few fields as possible. So I actually prefer to just do the email and first name. Chances are if it's a bigger business, they already have their website and their business name and their email address. Like for me, Izzy at littleriverchamber.org. Well, Little River Chamber is my business. Littleriverchamber.org is my website. And no, that's not true for everybody. I know a lot of small businesses use Gmail, but they're more likely to actually give you the information if you keep it short and sweet. And then for settings, here's the important part if I bored you. You want to make sure after they got the link for the PDF that they're also being sent to the correct email list. So under settings, we're going to go to choose list, opt-in, and ribbon cutting checklist is what I created. And that's it. And then we're also going to rename our landing page. Again, they won't see this, but future staff might. So you want it to make sense for other people. Any questions about this landing page so far? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and publish. And I think it was still confusing, so I want to double check where to find it for you. Okay, cool. So because that's new, it's a little odd. It doesn't actually show up underneath sign up forms. So I wanted to show you where to find it. We actually have to go to campaigns. And if it's been a while, you can look underneath automation. Oh, wait. Yep, sorry. Underneath campaigns and landing pages on the left-hand side. And this is where you can find it. So if you need it, you can go to the more and hit share. And this is where you get your URL. This URL is now our landing page because we can now put this URL on Facebook, on our website, wherever else. Last chance for questions about landing pages.
Izzy, do we know who we've sent this to yet? Have you, the email that you created first, have we picked that list yet and I just missed it?
Yes.
Okay.
I can go back though, because I can go to, might have to unpublish it, which is fine. Edit.
But you just picked it like you normally would. It was just the non-members.
Yep, so this was the editing, and then I go to settings, and
then
underneath
okay.
settings, that is the option. It says
Okay.
choose which email list, and we're specifically sending it to the new email list we created that says ribbon cutting checklist for businesses, because we want to make sure those are the people that are getting this.
Gotcha.
And then we can segment them off into potential members or current members or whatever else we need to.
Perfect. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. So first we're going to test it because we always test everything. So I click yes, I want it. Click here to download. All right, download button works. And then we're going to look in campaigns, and campaign type automation is where we'll see the series. So if we're looking at all of our campaigns, it tells you, let's just do that. Beside active, it's telling you lead generation, landing page, automated series. So landing page versus the actual emails that they'll get. And we're gonna just hit refresh for like a minute because I feel like it took about 30 seconds last time. Sorry, this is the boring part, but we like to know that things work. This is also a great time for questions if anybody has one.
So Izzy, you sent the email first and the email prompted the landing page, right?
No.
Oh,
So we're pretending that I sent them to the landing page and then they got added to the email list. So
I gotcha.
from
Okay,
their point of view, they saw an ad or something and they clicked on and went to our landing page.
I gotcha.
Then they get
Okay,
the email with a checklist, which means you have a warm lead in your email box.
I gotcha. Gotcha.
And as soon as I can show you that this works, we're going to create a quick ad in Canva. There we go.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So again, I'm looking at my autoresponder email series in Constant Contact. If you had multiple, like your next email would probably have a few in the queue, but this at least shows you sent, however many people sent it, opened and clicked. This number should be a little bit higher compared to your other emails. I think my average email open rate is in the low 30s. But you can see for a relocation guide, it's 74% for the first email. Very similar to a welcome email. Whatever first email people get from you is going to be very high. So you're actually going to spend way more time than I did on creating that first email to make sure it's fairly welcoming and positive. And then we're going to say, okay, well, that's great, but we need to get people to the landing page. So I'm going to create this quick ad in Canva, and you can have this. Use this template. All right, I've put that in the chat.
Love free stuff that I don't have to do.
Well, it's what I'm calling freemium because this part you can do, but then I've put in like a shameless ad. So this is an ad for my Etsy. I have chamber specific social media templates, as well as this video. I've actually made it a 4-part video series that you can download the videos and actually publish them as your chamber. You can add your chamber logo onto it, whatever you want. It's actually only $14, but I've still actually put in a coupon code for CACCE, so you'll get 25% off of either of those should you want to. But even without that, this ad is going to be free. I have purposefully made it a horizontal size so that it shows up pretty well on Facebook or Twitter, since most of us are using Facebook. And you can also use it in your blog or on your website as a short little ad. So we're actually going to duplicate this so you can see. And you can see I've already set it up to match CACCE color. So all you really have to do is change out the photo to one of your members. I have used the photo of my ribbon cutting live sponsors. So any extra publicity I can give them, I do. And then I'm just going to change the other colors to match my brand. So again, I showed you how the eyedropper worked already. I'm going to delete that logo. You would upload your logo. Oh, just kidding. I want that one.
And everybody, I'll make sure that you are sent the links to all of this in the email that we send out with the recording.
So I've added my logo and I'm going to use my eyedropper again to get my other green. Okay, so I've rebranded it. I'm going to download. I want to make sure I'm actually choosing an image. So I want PNG, and I just want the page I'm working on. So if you have multiple slides, this is what I do a lot of times with templates is I have multiple images I can work on in the same place so I can drag and drop and move stuff over. But to make sure you're downloading just one at a time, you would look at the page number. And then I have Canva Pro, so I can do that, but we're not going to yet. Okay, so this has downloaded the image. I went fast because I feel like most people are vaguely familiar with it. Does anybody have any burning Canva questions? Okay, here's another intermediate step for everybody. If you go to tinypng.com, you can, just like the PDF compressor, we're going to upload our PNG and it's going to compress the file size. You want to do this anytime you upload an image to your website because it affects your website speed. That means if it's loading faster, people are more likely to stay on your website because it's loading faster for them. They're not waiting on stuff they don't think it's broken. And then you're just going to make sure you actually download it. And then again, show in folder. So this is the reduced file size I've downloaded. If you haven't already, you also want to rename your file to something that makes sense. So I've put in free grand opening checklist, which is fine. You basically don't want like this where it's email and a bunch of numbers or something that doesn't make sense because Google reads that stuff even in images. So that's just like a little website SEO tip for you. This is the part that's going to be very different for everybody. I can update my website using WordPress. So this is what you are seeing right now. Generally speaking, you're going to want to find the web page that you would edit. And then however you edit your website, you're going to figure out how to upload an image. We're going to make sure we choose the image that we reduce the file size of. And if you can, also edit your alt text in the description. The alt text is something that if somebody has a screen reader, it will actually read this out. So you want it to make sense to those people. But if for some reason things aren't loading properly, this also kind of vaguely tells what it's about. So a lot of times I'll actually go back and we'll just say, okay, so nothing fancy. I've just put what it is, but you kind of want to update the alt text in the description. Again, Google's also reading these things. So over time, if you've made this a practice, it's just good for you. So we're going to select it. I like to center mine. And then we want to embed the link. So you go find your landing page URL. And then you're going to look for this icon to insert a link and just make sure you have the picture selected. Sometimes you have to have settings. Again, it might look different. It depends on what your website editor is. So you're just adding an image and making the image a link. Those are the only two things you have to figure out in your website. So I'm just going to paste it. And then if it's an option, you really, really, really want to make sure that the link opens in a new tab. And then you just hit update. So now when I go to this page, people can click it. It will take them to the landing page. They will give me their email address, and then they will get the free checklist. And then I can put them on another email list to receive more information about the chamber. So that is pretty much it. That was the whole process. And I went, like I said, fast on purpose. I have another one? No, okay. but we learned how to use a PDF compressor to reduce the file size of PDFs. You're probably going to make your lead magnet a PDF because most people have that type of file on their computer or their phone. You want to make sure you're uploading your PDF to your email marketing provider like Constant Contact, or you can put it in like Dropbox or Google Drive. You just want a link. Your main goal is to make that a link. And then you're going to, in your email provider like Constant Contact, create a new email list, tag or group, create your autoresponder to provide the free thing, and then you want to make sure you're creating a landing page. So again, we use Constant Contact. You can use a lead landing page generator, you know what I mean, like Optin Monster or whatever else. And then I like to create a simple ad in Canva, just trying to get people to entice them to want to go to the landing page. Your ad is just to get them to the landing page. The landing page's goal is to get them to give your email address. So you don't have to focus all of the different goals into one thing. And then of course, put your ad actually out there. So I put it on the website. You can share it on social media. I would do both.
Hey, Izzy, give me some more examples of what some folks maybe shared on Frank Kinney's thing that he did on this of what they actually gave away. You know, we just did the checklist, and you had mentioned you had done some little templates. What other things have people used for that?
They didn't have a whole lot because we were in the minority.
Gotcha.
This is at least an example of, I guess I can make this bigger. Okay, so these two are ad images. So this one is mine, and I'm just like, how to improve your videos. And it specifically says like YouTube for Chamber, so that explains my audience.
Mm-hmm.
This one says free guide 2021 best practices for advertising with TikTok Ads Manager.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason this is interesting is because it's specific. Because we don't say just ribbon cutting checklist. You probably want a ribbon cutting checklist for new businesses in Little River, South Carolina. That is a highly targeted email list. So this is not just how to do TikTok. This is TikTok Ads Manager. So this is people that are spending money on TikTok ads.
Gotcha.
If you're trying to target more realtors, say that you think there's a lot of realtors in your area, but maybe not enough of them are chamber members, you could say, here's a checklist for realtors on where to promote new housing listings. I don't know, something that realtors would use
Sure.
to get those specific people. Because again, you can have multiple opt-ins out there and you want each one to be as specific as possible.
Very good.
Let
Okay.
me, I'm gonna check, oops, I don't want that. I'm gonna see if I made a note of another one.
While she's looking, any other questions for Izzy?
I just read the comment of how to tell a friend their baby's ugly.
Yeah.
Do you outsource your services like for setting up stuff like this for a chamber? So maybe
No, but oh, sorry.
I
Continue.
was, I was just say, so maybe I don't have time to set it up, but I would pay someone to do that. Would
Mm,
you be done? Would that be something you'd be interested in?
I could. I do charge a fee for it. I think I charge like 125, but I do give a discount if you can provide the PDF to me.
Okay.
Um,
So I can follow up with you about that.
yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll make sure everybody's got her contact information.
Here we go. And then if you don't like me, that's okay. You can also put it out there on Fiverr or wherever else. I am a fan of outsourcing. We've started to do it at my chamber where if I have a specific project, I can put it on Fiverr and you can tell people this is what I want and only people that understand that will bid on it. And I can even look, I may not be able to get somebody in my state, but I can actually see where they're from. So I can make sure I at least am supporting an American, just because as a chamber, that is important to us. So I did have one example. The Allen Fairview Chamber uses ClickFunnels, which is a little more expensive. But their lead magnet is find out if your business is ready to grow in 2021. Another example is if anybody else has Frank Kinney's content marketing package, Most of those are intended to be blog posts, but they don't have to be. Okay, I already started a folder for these. So these are blog posts that were included in his marketing package. The first one is 10 easy ways to increase sales. So I could very easily condense this into a one-page checklist, or maybe I will just publish the first 4 and then I'll be like, click here to get the full 10 tips, and they have to give me their email address for it. Awesome business content ideas, business videos you should be making. I think any of those, anything you can fit onto one page is fine. So again, checklists are very popular, but it doesn't have to be. Here we go. So other types of lead magnet types, sorry, I probably should have led with this. So we probably don't do coupons or discounts, but you could say free event admission. So if you usually charge for business after hours or networking event, you might be able to give away some free spots at that. I talked about checklists. If you have any templates, like maybe a business plan template, a toolkit, so that could be resources that you think every small business needs to start up, a resource list, tutorials like this one, video tutorials, audio training, ebook reports and white papers, maybe, because those are usually a little bit longer. Those are good for like high ticket items if you're charging like a few thousand, or if it's a big change. So like Chamber Master and our other AMSs all have like, here's what you should look for in an AMS. Well, that's a great fit because that's a really big deal for any of us to change over from one software to another. Infographics are really popular, a planner, a calendar. If somebody on your social media team or your marketing team, which I laugh because it's just you, uh, if you can make just a one-page calendar to give them a new idea for posting on Facebook that day, that's been really popular in the social media world. If you have the software to do a quiz, I haven't researched it a whole lot, but basically you make the quiz free, but they have to put in their email address to get the answer. A boot camp or challenge could actually be a very purposeful email series, or if you already had that event where it was a multi-day event, you could, if you recorded the videos, you could drip those out in the email autoresponder and get people to sign up for it, doing just what we did today. Sample. I'm not sure what we would do for a sample. Usually my example is if somebody is an author, they would give away the first chapter or the first training session. Or if you do charge for coaching or you let people meet with you, you could give away one free. Or even without that, you could say, hey, schedule a meeting with the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, schedule a complimentary 15-minute consultation here and just put a link to Calendly. And then we may not have a library, but you could. So for most people, if they have multiple opt-ins, you could have just one web page that here's all of the opt-ins we've ever made, and they just call that like a template or freebie library.
Very good. All right. Any other questions for Izzy today? Izzy, this was great information. Thank you for going through it and walking us through the process of how to create this. As a reminder, you will get this recording so you can go back through it step by step, and then I'll make sure you've got Izzy's contact information if you'd like to contact her directly. All right, Izzy, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Good to see everyone today.
No problem. I hope that was useful and everybody has found value and that you have an action plan written down to go make a lead magnet for your chamber.
Absolutely.
Thank you.